Well, thanks to all the rain we've had, you've probably noticed we're in the midst of quite a growing season for weeds. It's so bad they're towering over some properties. Local 12's Rich Jaffe joins us now from right down the street in Mount Auburn with a look at some of those properties, the problems and the possible solutions that are coming your way. Rich, I think we're looking at the top of your head. Well, we were anyway.
Hi, Rob. You know, we drive through this neighborhood all the time, and especially over the last few weeks, I have become particularly aware of a growing problem here. And it's not a problem just in Mount Auburn. It's a problem all over the city and all over the tri-state. Now, take a look at the condition of this sidewalk. You couldn't fight your way through this thing if you had to. And now look at what's on the other side here. A house, a tremendously overgrown yard. It's just a mess, and it is far too common all over this area. Usually vacant houses where the yards are just totally out of control. I talked with some Cincinnati city officials to find out who's responsible for this. Some of these properties look more like a jungle than a residential lot in the city neighborhood. On many of the lots, weeds and bushes are so overgrown that people are forced to walk in the street because they can't get by on the sidewalk. Annie Arbogast has lived in her home on McGregor since 2009. She's almost next door to this.
There are humongous birds that live up there in that house. And they're the biggest birds I have ever seen. I mean, literally, we were worried about our cat coming outside because the birds are huge.
According to the Hamilton County Auditor, the home was purchased in 2009, and Annie says it really hasn't changed since then.
There are a lot of families that live here, and so I mean cosmetically, and then with the overgrowth and all being in houses, there's a lot of animals that gather, and so it does have a big impact.
The owner of this house on Highland was cited by the city just last week because the weeds are well over the city's 10-inch maximum. But we found that while many other properties have been ruled unfit for habitation, and in one case even padlocked by the city, the yards continue to grow out of control. Kenneth Jackson says he's tried unsuccessfully to buy some of the empty properties because he'd like to rehab them.
Once it starts here, it just goes all around the neighborhood. And I've been working with Mount Auburn to try to get these type of things cleared out because it makes it lose the value of the neighborhood. And with me being here 50 years, I want it better.
And take a look at this place. You can't even tell there's a house in here. While many of the problem properties are vacant, we found that someone actually lives here, but we couldn't get any response when I knocked on the door. We plan to try again. Now, if you're wondering how it is that the city lets properties get to this point, simple, it's money. Generally speaking, when it gets this bad, or hopefully before it gets this bad, the city will come out, they'll cut the property down, and then they will send a bill to the landlord and hope to recoup their losses after they send out that bill. But there hasn't been any money for that enforcement. The new city budget came into play July 1st, and I'm told that there is now some money for enforcement on things like this. The other possibility here is that this now has become the responsibility of the Public Services Department. So you've got another unit that's now taking a look at it, and they clearly have the equipment to do this sort of thing. So we can only hope that in the very near future, this starts getting cleaned up. In Mount Auburn, Rich Jaffe, Local 12 News. Rob?
And I know some of the neighbors would like to get on this property, but they're probably not allowed to walk on the property. Is that true, or how does that work, Rich?
Well, as a matter of fact, on March 25th of this year, City Council passed a new ordinance in the city of Cincinnati, and it's set up so that the neighbors can indeed come in and clean up a property like this without any fear of liability. They have to contact someone in the health department and work with the health department. Then the city will come out and assess the work that's been done, and then they will send that bill to the property owners. And hopefully, if they get the money back, it goes back into the community. So that's a great opportunity if we start seeing it work.
Yeah, it sounds like a legitimate option, Rich. Thanks very much. Enforcement on issues like this varies community to community. So if you have problem properties where you live, the best is to contact either the health department, as Rich said, or the building department for some help. In the city of Cincinnati, you can also go to the city's website for an interactive display that will explain housing and building code violations. You can find a link for that on our website at local12.com.